It's a beautiful Sunday, August 3rd, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. And we had to call them in. It's time to talk ball, Ted.
Let's do it. I love it.
Recording this a little in advance, so if we missed anything that like drastic that happened OU football related, our apologies. But hopefully nothing has happened in the first couple of training camp practices where they're not even wearing pads.
Only great things will happen.
Okay, yeah, let's not go down that road. How about that?
Yep.
Here is the one and only Dusty Dvoracek. It is our pleasure to be joined by one of the best analysts in all of college football. You can hear him each and every weekday morning on SiriusXM radio on Dusty and Danny in the morning. He is the one, the only Dusty Dvoracek. What's up, man?
What's up, boys? How we doing? Smell that?
Close. Getting close.
Football season right around the corner. I don't know when this is going to air, but it's almost August, fellas. I mean, it's like here.
We're running this August 3rd. So yes, it is August.
There you go. It's August.
It's
Yes.
August. Look at us.
Yeah.
We're in the future in August.
And I love it. It's great. Summer, I'm not quite ready for summer to be over, but we're getting really close. Couple more weekends. Boys, I'm starting early this year. I will be headed to across the pond for the first time. I'll be doing the week 0 kickoff game. I have Farmageddon in Dublin. So Kansas State, Iowa State, a little Big 12 thriller in Dublin. So my first trip is a work trip, but my wife is going with me. We're spending 4 days in London, and then we're spending 4 days in Dublin. So to say I'm a little excited about the start of the season's a bit of an understatement. So cannot wait.
Bring your beer drinking pants, bud.
I know you're no stranger to Europe, but London.
Have you ever been, Dusty? Have you been?
Never.
I'm like a different human over there. I never drink beer at home, and it's all I drink over there. I don't know. I'm like, I turn into a different guy when I go to my motherland.
So London, no, cool city. Awesome.
One of the coolest cities in the world, dude. I love it. It's awesome. Okay. You're going to love it.
Food, good?
That's where some people are like, Dude, one thing, there are a couple, and I never eat Indian food here. There are a couple Indian food restaurants that I've eaten in London, and they are delicious, dude.
Wasn't expecting that.
I know. Neither.
I'll be honest. Wasn't expecting that. And then Dublin is going to be, everyone says Dublin's great. So we'll go check out the island and take in some football. So, and then, it's just, I'm always at home watching that game, but like, I think everybody gets so excited just to have a real football game on the TV screen that it'll be, and the fact that I believe what the Big 12 coaches, I think they picked at the preseason Big 12 championship game, Kansas State, Iowa State. So
I think Iowa State's going to be really good this year.
I think both are going to be really good. I think, you got Avery Johnson, Rocco Becht. We got some quarterbacks, a couple of really good coaches in Kleiman and Campbell. So I'm excited, boys. It's going to be fun. I don't think you came. I'm here for the breakdown of Farmageddon in Dublin. So let's get down to business. Let's talk some Sooner football, boys. Let me ask you two, because you two, y'all are level-headed. What is the level of excitement for Oklahoma football in 25? Because I can tell you, I was in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. Bro, people were freaking out. People are loving the Oklahoma Sooners heading into this season. I'm guessing you guys are you in?
I I am in. I in fact have told the fans you should be excited. It's okay to be excited.
Good.
We don't have to be so pessimistic about things. And that's maybe my first question for you, Double D, is I don't think there's any doubt we're going to be better this year. I mean, they're going to be a better football team than they were a year ago. But we've got some scars from 2 out of the last 3 seasons, brother. And so we've been hurt.
Yeah.
And are you allowing yourself to get excited about this year's Oklahoma Sooners football team?
I'm really excited. I'll always be excited to watch Oklahoma football, but I'm tempering my expectations. It's exactly what you said, Gabe. They're going to be a much better football team. Are they going to go 10-2? Are they going to be in Atlanta? I don't know. I'm not setting myself up for that. But do I think this is a team that could win 9 games? I expect to win at least 8 games. Yeah. And do I think with that schedule, if you win 9 games, you're going to be squarely in the conversation for one of those 12 playoff spots? Absolutely. So that's kind of where I'm at. Would it shock me if they won double-digit games? No, it wouldn't shock me. It surprised me, but I guess I'm going into it with the expectation that this is going to be a better team. It's going to be a better year. And I think that when you look at that schedule, from Texas on's a bear. Let's just call it what it is. And so depth is going to come into play. And I think that they're a deeper team. They're clearly a more talented team offensively. I think that goes without saying, really everywhere you look. I'm excited about Ben Arbuckle. So yeah, I'm fired up and excited, but I'm not going into this season thinking, oh, this is no doubt the SEC champion. But that's okay to me, because from where this team was a year ago to where I think they're going to be this year, I don't know how anybody that follows this team and roots for this team couldn't be incredibly excited.
Yeah. Well, obviously a lot of changes on the offense. We got the new coordinator. You mentioned Arbuckle, and you got John Mateer. What have your impressions? I don't think you called any of their games last year, did you?
No.
Have you watched much of him? What do you think of how he and Arbuckle's offense are going to fit in the SEC?
I like him a lot. He's from where I'm from, man. He's from Little Elm, Texas. He's from about 10 miles from Lake Dallas. So, I just like everything he's about. He's kind of tough. He's gritty. He's blue collar. But the dude's a baller, and he's got some swag to him, some confidence that I think is already permeated all throughout that locker room going back to January, which is huge. So, I think what I like the most, what I'm surprised the most is how athletic he is. I did not know prior to watching some of his stuff that the guy can really move around well. He can tuck it and go. He can throw it on the move. He can change his arm angles. And I think that continuity with a quarterback and a coordinator is massive. I mean, this will be year 3 for those two guys together. So though it's a new place, and he's got to get to know and get that familiarity with his receivers and his offensive line and all that, I get that. But the guy calling the plays knows him unbelievably well, knows exactly what he does well, has tremendous confidence in him. And the same goes with the quarterback and the coordinator. He can already anticipate what he's going to call in certain situations. He knows what he likes. So that cohesion is absolutely massive. And I'd be surprised if we don't see him have a ton of success. And I've had a chance to talk with him a couple times now and sat with him for a while in Atlanta at SEC Media Days. And he's a stud, man. Like, he's self-deprecating. He's laid back. He's cool. But he's confident. He's not brash, cocky, arrogant, going to rub people the wrong way, but challenge him, and he's going to respond. And I think that's what most people like. And it's so easy to make the comparison to a guy that was pretty good that wore number 6, but they got similar builds, they got similar games, They got similar mannerisms. There's a lot there. And let's be honest, like though Baker came a year before Lincoln got there, to look at that Lincoln Baker cohesion and what they were able to put together, and you think about Arbuckle and Mateer, to me, it's tough not to at least look at it and say, not to say this is what we should definitively expect. It's one of the greatest runs we've ever seen a quarterback and coordinator have in college football history, not just Oklahoma history, but I also think it's okay to get excited. We've seen something very similar work in a really good way here before, and I think that we should have expectations that it's going to work very well here once again. So I'm all in on this guy, man. I don't know, and I got to be honest with you, like I would say Oklahoma and him in particular, they kind of won SEC media days. And this isn't even really me saying that. This is me talking to a lot of people there, my peers at ESPN, peers at other networks. Like everybody, once Oklahoma came through, was that much higher on Oklahoma. And John Mateer, I didn't come across one person that didn't just say, "Oh, I love John Mateer. Oh, John Mateer's a stud." Now, does that mean that's going to translate to touchdown passes and that's going to translate into wins on the field? No, but the guy's impressive, and it wasn't just Oklahoma people that were noticing it. It was everybody that was in Atlanta that had a chance to listen to him or talk to him.
I've got one more Mateer question for you, Dusty. Running the football was a big part of what he did.
Big time.
At Washington State. And that
was 15
was
touchdowns?
Yeah. I mean, he 1,000-yard rusher, right?
Yeah, right around there. Yeah. Close.
So you're talking about a guy that they ran a lot of QB run game. Now, some of it was improv, scrambling, being a great athlete. But do you think they'll dial up the QB run game like they did a year ago at Washington State? Because let's just be real. You're playing different cats week in and week out in the SEC.
Yeah. It's funny. He made a comment that he knows he's got to get down. I think you still got to run him. I don't have his numbers. What was his carries? What do you have? Like 160, 170 carries last year? Something like that. Maybe it was more than that. Maybe it was closer to 200. But I think that you have to continue to run him. I just don't know, and maybe I'm high on that. Maybe it's more like 150.
178.
There you go. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere around that area. So I don't know if I'm going to put a number on that. So what is that? We're talking, 13 games. We're talking he's running 11, 12 times a game ish, maybe even closer to 13 times a game. I think you're going to be somewhere living in that 8 to 10, 8 to 12 number. It's going to vary week to week. I just think you got to be smart, right? I think the biggest thing, in the SEC or really at any time is just, avoid unnecessary contact. Be smart. If there's a time to step out, you ain't got to grind for that extra yard or two, step out. If you can slide and you can preserve your body, get down, that's who he is. And look, the backup, Michael Hawkins, who I think is only getting better and better. I mean, he's a mobile guy too. I think Ben Arbuckle, this is part of what he wants to do offensively and stress defenses. And I think also, Gabe, part of it's also predicated. What's Jade Knott looking like? What's he doing? How's the running game in totality coming together? In a perfect world, you're not running him as much, right? You're not putting him in as much harm's way. In a perfect world, Jade Knott's going to go for 1,400 yards, and you're going to be able to pick your poison and do whatever you want to do. But if you need to run the quarterback some, I think you're going to have to do it. But I do think that you're smart with it, and I can already tell Mateer knows he has to be smart, which is the most important thing. But I don't know how you guys feel. That's part of the allure of him to me. I don't want to take that away from him.
Dude's built like a linebacker running.
His neck he's like a linebacker neck.
He's trying to do his best Teddy impression. That's what he's going for.
Hey, I got to tell this story real quick since you mentioned that. So we're in the car today, and you had texted me. We're driving back from the lake, and my kids are asking, what do you got to do? I was like, I'm hopping on with Gabe and Teddy tonight. And we started talking about you guys. We were talking about Ted, and so Lacey, my two youngest were trying to describe Teddy in their own way, and so Lacey pulled up a picture, and she pulled up the picture. I think it was your rookie year in Detroit,
Yeah.
when you were with the Lions, and obviously Lacey's known Teddy since college. But she's like, she hasn't seen that Teddy in a while. And so she pulls up the picture. She said, "Oh my God, look at his neck. His neck is bigger than yours." She said, that is an abnormally large neck. I said, "Yeah, he was an elite linebacker. That's kind of what they do." And she said, "His head looks so small with his big neck."
Oh
I was dying. It was too good. So you have a small head, but a very large neck, and I would take that only as a compliment. I mean,
I'll take it as a compliment. That's right. You can't be a linebacker with a pencil neck. It doesn't work out that way.
Mateer's got a nice neck on him, but let's just be honest. It's no Teddy Lehman neck, okay?
It's got to be wider than your ears, not just wider than your head. It's got to be wider than your ears.
What was your shirt size back then? Were you like a 20 neck size?
Yeah, it was large. A funny story on that, like when my wife's brother was getting married, I had to get quickly purchase a shirt, and I think my wife went and bought the shirt and got it because I had to wear a tie, so she had to get like whatever my neck size. It was something ridiculous. And she comes back and the shirt's like folded up in one of those packages, and I take it out and it's like a bed sheet, dude. It's like a 10X. But that's the only one that
had the neck size. Yeah.
Hey, you may want to get that one tailored.
Yeah. I had it like safety pin in the back. Oh gosh, that's funny.
We'll get you back to the interview. But first, taking a road trip this summer? Remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway, and with the Love's app, you can save big all summer long. You can save 10 cents per gallon on gas and up to 25 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app this summer and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to fire up your cookouts than with Didier Ranch's steak burgers made from 100% premium cuts of steak. These burgers are the real deal. Juicy, flavorful, and packed with that rich, beefy taste that you love. Plus, they're shipped right to your door, so you can spend more time doing what you love and less time shopping. Head over to DidierRanch.com now and use code SOONER for a special discount on your first order. Get ready to taste the best burgers you've ever had. Proudly raised 100% in Oklahoma. Didier Ranch, steak in every bite.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the Oklahoma-owned company and the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. It's August in Oklahoma, and that can only mean one thing. OU football is back. Get ready for home games with us. Every home OU football game will feature exclusive limited edition drinkware drops, perfect for staying hydrated while you cheer on the Sooners. Each home game brings a brand new design only available while supplies last. So grab yours each game before they are gone. And with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, you'll also know you're helping Oklahomans off the field as well. Simple Modern, good everywhere. All right, back to the interview.
Well, I agree with you on Mateer running the ball. I think they're going to sprinkle it in, but ultimately it depends on how well like the traditional running game is going to go, which maybe the biggest question, at least on the offense, the offensive line. What are your impressions with what this group can do? I don't even want to really compare it to last year because there's so many different players, and the guys that are back, knock on wood, are going to be healthy,
And better.
We've got like, it feels like a group that you can actually have some stability and maybe play around with some lineups because you got a little bit of depth. But what's your impressions of the O-line?
They're going to be much better. I don't know how they're not going to be. I thought throughout the course of last season, you had to play some young guys. They're forced kind of in that spot. And I thought they got better and better throughout the course of the year. And I don't know why now we wouldn't expect the exact same thing with an entire offseason, working. I thought in particular, I thought Logan Hallen got better and better throughout the course of last year. I expect he's going to be better. I thought Heath Ozida got better and better throughout the course of last year. I don't know why he wouldn't be better. Jacob Sexton, I thought, he had some moments that he probably wished he had back. And I thought he also had some moments where he played well. He's back. He's going to have a whole nother year. Fabechi, I thought at times he was really good throughout the year. I'm excited to see what he does. And obviously the two freshmen that are going to play, how much we'll see. I mean, they're absolute freak shows. Michael Fasusi he's got a chance to be special. He's got a chance. He's also a true freshman. He's going to figure it out. I mean, I know that they love Foji as well. I think both those guys are going to factor in. At what point? I don't know. I don't know at what point they're starters or if they're starters. But what I like the most is that there's depth. And I don't think they, with all the injuries last year, that depth ran dry. And I think that this year you've got experienced players coming back and you've got really high level to elite type talent for young guys coming in to push those older guys who have been there. And that's going to create competition, and that's going to be nothing but a good thing, in my opinion. So, I had a chance to see him a little bit in the spring. I was impressed, but talking with people around, the program and around that offensive line, I know that they feel really good about that offensive line group to bounce back and be, a much improved unit than the one we saw last year. Again, some of that, not all their fault, but I can assure you Beatonbow's not going to be making excuses. But I'm excited. I'm optimistic about what that offensive line room looks like. I mean, Troy Everett last year, he was never really healthy. I'm excited to see him back in the fold and in the mix. So Gabe would be the person I would always lean on for his opinion on this more so than mine. But I think this offensive line's got a chance to be much improved. And if Michael Fasusi is as good as I'm told he is, oh boy, I can't wait.
I mean, Beanbo's told me he got a chance to be the best one he's ever coached.
So he told me the same thing.
He's coached some good ones.
And the thing is, he doesn't say that.
He's not a hyperbole guy. Like, he doesn't get excited about anyone.
He don't throw compliments around about anybody.
And he said it like 2 days into spring too. It's like right away.
They really like Ryan Foji a lot. And I think with those guys too, they're just big athletic guys. And I think you can move them around. They can help you in different spots. And again, I think as much as anything, the depth up front. A guy that I'm intrigued by, we saw him briefly. What is it? EPL? Pierre Louis.
Yep.
He had some penalties, but I'm intrigued to see if we see him take a step. Do we see him pushing for some playing time? But again, he was another young player that we saw briefly. We saw in spots, but we all know, man, it's a line of scrimmage league, and we could talk about quarterbacks, and we're excited about Mateer. We're excited about Jay Knott, and we'll see if wide receiver can stay healthy. I think they've got some guys outside that can win and make some plays, but you got to be able to block people, boys. Plain and simple. You got premier edge defenders. You got big physical defensive tackles. You got linebackers coming down who are going to hit you in the face. That's how you win in this league. You win in this league by being able to win the line of scrimmage. And that's going to be a great challenge and a great test. And so that's where it's like, and one thing that I love is Michigan week 2, we're going to find out. Like, I know Michigan just had 2 first-rounders at D tackle, but you kidding me? They got dudes up front that we'll know very quickly before Auburn comes to town where this Oklahoma offensive line's at. And they better be hitting the ground running, because I can assure you, Sherrone Moore wants to come in and wants to win. And he's going to bring a young quarterback in, I assume. But the one thing I know about that program and where they've been the last handful of years, they're as physical as anybody in the country. And they're going to come in ready to scrap and ready to fight, and they're going to challenge us up front on both sides of the ball.
Let's just finish this kind of conversation about the offensive side, Dusty. How are you feeling about the collection of skill talent? I think we're all excited about Mateer and what he is as a player. And I believe the offensive line kind of determines the ceiling of this entire football team. But what do you think about these skill guys as a whole?
Well, if we're healthy, let's just so for one question I have, Giovanni Gibson, where we at? How's he going to be? How long is it going to take him to be fully healthy? I don't know. I'm not here to unveil state secrets. I don't know. But that's a wild card to me, because I think he's a guy that came in and, they brought two guys in from the, colleges in Arkansas. And I thought, both guys, both Gibson and Satania impacted, but it was really Giovanni Gibson from the smaller school that he kind of said, whoa, this guy, he got a chance. Where's that situation at? I do like the addition of Isaiah Satania. I've called multiple of his games when he was at Arkansas. He can go. I mean, he can take the top off of defense. He can be a nice vertical threat. I think we all know, I don't even want to talk it too much, because Deion Burks is one of the most hyped players in the SEC heading into last year, and it just never really happened for a variety of reasons. I would say part of that is definitely health, but we know that his ceiling is one of the best receivers in the SEC. That's what he's capable of, and I would be stunned if Ben Arbuckle doesn't find ways to get him the football. Like I just, some of the best offensive coordinators, it's not like rocket science what they do. They get their best guys the ball, and we got to get him the ball. Deion Burks is a dude, and he needs to be treated such. To me, the wild card that I think could make the receiver room really good is Jaden Gibson. And I thought before Jaden Gibson got hurt, all the buzz that I heard and seen with my own two eyes, early last year was Jaden Gibson's turned a corner, not just on the field, but mentally, leadership-wise, work ethic, like all the things. Like, he's matured, he's grown up. He gets that. Oh, if I take this very seriously, I can be really good. And then unfortunately got hurt. But when you're 6'5", that's a problem for defenses. So, to me, can he stay healthy? And if he can, and I'm not saying that he's not healthy now, but it's just he's dealt with a lot of injuries. I think he could be an X factor that could be a real problem for opposing defenses. Jade Knott 2 years ago arguably was the best running back in the country. 1,300 yards at Cal. He almost came out in that would have been the 24 draft. Decided to come back last year, did not go the way he wanted to. So, I mean, I don't see how he couldn't excite you. I thought, Javonte Barnes, I thought he again is like, you saw some moments of brilliance, and you saw some moments of, man, if he just makes a different cut or he sees a hole, maybe we have something a little different. But what I loved about Javonte last year, he never quit. He's tough. He'll put his face in there. And I thought he gave you a little bit even the throw game too. And then, Xavier Robinson, I don't know how you don't just like his physical presence. He's a physical big back that I like him too. So, I think they have plenty of weapons. What you said is the key. It's the offensive line. I don't know where I would rank Oklahoma's skill relative to the SEC. It's good enough. It's good enough to win a lot of football games. But can you block people? Can you give opportunities to Jay Knott and those other running backs? Are you giving John Mateer an opportunity to deliver the football to these other weapons? That's going to ultimately be this is going to be one of the most improved units in the country from where they were last year to this year? Can it be a top 25 offense in college football? I think that's offensive line dependent.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that is a good, like we've talked about the depth on the offensive line. They couldn't even practice last spring hardly.
Yep.
You fast forward this year, they had a good productive spring, and then going into training camp, we're going to know right before we even kick the ball off against Illinois State how good they are, because they're going to be going up against what I don't know. I have to think, and I can't wait to hear your opinion on what Oklahoma's defensive line is going to be. They got all their guys back. They're deep. And I'm talking mainly on the interior, but throw R. Mason Thomas in there as well on the edge if you want. Like, what do you think about this group? Is the hype real? I know the buzz was around when Kublik said that they're the best defensive line in the SEC by a landslide. What's your opinion on them?
He's just stealing my stuff. We're going to have to get Cube. Cube's just listen to me. Phil Steele said it. Phil Steele had us the number one defensive line in college football. I mean, Phil Steele's been doing this a long time. He studies a lot. He looks at a lot of stuff. He's got them over Clemson. He's got them over Alabama. He's got them over everybody. So I think the buzz is real. I'm going to start it in, but tackle is a strength. I was so impressed with R. Mason Thomas in Atlanta as well. Man, he is just, first of all, he looks amazing. Mm-hmm. He's grown up so much. I remember when he first got, I remember when he was the little guy. He was, what was he, guys, like 225 when he got there, 220 maybe? He was just a pure, coming out of Florida.
Yeah.
He was just a pure, had quick first step, and he didn't have any size, but he put him on third down, rushed the passer. Now, I mean, he's a dude. I thought he represented himself in Oklahoma so well, in Atlanta, so well spoken, confident. But just, I got a sense of, he's been putting in a lot of work, and I love to hear that. And I think that he's primed for another outstanding season. He took over games last year, man. That Tulane game that I called, he took over that crucial drive late in the game. There was a lot of times throughout the year that it was just R. Mason Thomas just took games over. And it's been a while since Oklahoma's had an elite edge that can do that. And it's so key for great defenses. What is Marvin Jones Jr. going to be? I'm going to tell you this. He going to look like a first round pick getting off the bus. Because the guy is, there's a reason he was a 5-star coming out of high school. What he's put on film is inconsistency. So, the question is, can he be consistent down in, down out? And hopefully he won't have to play him too much, because hopefully you're rotating guys in. I think PJ's got to take a step, guys. I think that's another player that, we've seen him. He just he's right there on the cusp. Can he really get over the hump? That'll be a question I have. And then another guy that I'm anxious to see, I haven't seen a ton of, Danny Okoye. I think that they've got the body types and the chance to have 4 really, really good edges where they can get a nice, good rotation. But PJ and Danny, they got to take a step. And I just want to see, I've seen glimpses of brilliance from Marvin Jones Jr. I need to see it more consistent. But a D tackle, man, I do not think there is a defensive tackle room in the country that has the depth that Oklahoma has. Jaden and Dominic Williams, those two guys are so sturdy inside. I am anticipating a big jump from David Stone. Love the fact that, whatever they were able to figure out what they need to figure out, and he's back committed and excited about being at Oklahoma. Grayson Halton is quick as a cat. He's disruptive, creates negative plays. Any of those 4 guys can start most places anywhere. So it really feels to me like, and I could be missing one, it's as good a defensive line heading into the year as I can remember, probably since Gerald McCoy and Adrian Taylor were inside a defensive tackle. And I think that predates Gabe. Maybe Gabe was on the back end.
That was my redshirt year.
Okay. So you
Guess
probably
who got
remember
to
that.
block them as a 255-pound tight end that Jackie Ship made move to scout team center?
I mean, you tell me, they were pretty good back then. I mean, they could absolutely get it.
At that time, and that was pre-leg break for Adrian.
Yeah,
remember
well, he was incredible.
Snapped that leg in the Sun Bowl.
Awful.
He probably gave me more trouble than Gerald did, just because he was so strong, dude.
Heavy-handed,
so strong. My life was miserable my freshman year. We can get into it if you want, but it was
everyone's is supposed to be that way.
We'll get you back to the interview, but first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
all summer long, the Garage is offering their triple threat combo for $8.88. That's a burger, fries, and fountain drink for just $8.88. The triple threat is available all day, every day in store at all of their locations. You can also enjoy Rad Hour at the Garage with discounted domestic beers, house wines, draft cocktails, and frozen cocktails every day from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the garage in your neighborhood.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
All right, back to the interview. I went from tight end individual. My two partners were a guy named Jermaine Gresham and another guy named Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
And I went from that to scout team center, which I had never played offensive line. I was doing tight end individual with Lane and Jermaine, and then I would go and play scout team center and block Gerald and Adrian Taylor. It was great. I had so much fun. It was great.
Golly. You know what, though?
Long days, boys. Long
that's
days.
what helped make you so good, though.
I had to figure it out, or else they literally were probably going to kill me.
I got a feeling you weren't just cowering down saying, here, it just,
you couldn't, because Jackie made them practice
fighting
so
your
hard,
ass off,
dude.
and you were going to do whatever you had to do to find a way to at least kind of block them, which only made you better, which is really how you build programs. But the point is, this got a chance to be a great D-line. And I don't have to tell you boys, if you can have a deep, quality defensive line, you can win a lot of football games, especially in the not even just the SEC, major college football, big-time football, line of scrimmage wins. And this is the best defensive line Oklahoma has rostered and put out there in a really long time. And if nothing else excites you about this season, that damn sure better. Because I know for me, I can't wait. Because they got a little bit of everything, and everyone is a little different. But they got physicality. I think R. Mason Thomas's first step is right there with anybody's coming off the edge. And I think they got a little edge to them and some nasty. So I cannot wait to see this defensive line go to work this season.
Just for the record, once Jermaine got hurt, my other partner was Trent Rattery. I just want to point that out. I want to give my man Trent Rattery a shout out. Love that guy.
Absolutely.
You look at the defense, BV coming back to call the plays.
Yeah.
I think we're all expecting the defense to be very, very solid. Is there any area on the defense where you feel like there's some uncertainty? Maybe it's not a huge concern, but you feel like you're a little unsure of what it's going to look like?
I don't know if it's uncertainty. You know, I mean, you're replacing Danny Stutzman and you're replacing Billy Bowman. Okay. Now, really good defenses, really good programs, replace really good players every year. And they replace them with more really good players. Like I'm a big fan of Kip Lewis. I love Kobe McKenzie. I am a huge Kobe McKenzie fan. And so I feel good about where those positions are. I guess in that one in particular, as Danny was such an emotional vocal leader, I think, as well as the production we saw on the field. So I am curious who steps up and takes on that role. Like, I do think you need kind of an alpha that's really going to command the defense. I thought Danny did a great job of that the last couple of years. You know, and it's safety. I think Peyton Bowen is crazy talented. Robert Spears Jennings was there at media days. I think that I think Coach Hall is fabulous coaching those guys. So it's not that I have a concern. I just, I think that, Peyton Bowen's going to have to be that guy that he was supposed to be coming out of high school. We haven't really seen that consistently, so not concerns. And then I would just say corner, I really like Eli Bowen. I don't know. I'll be intrigued exactly how the corner room shakes out. I don't know if you guys have a expected, is Jacoby Johnson going to start over there? Gentry Williams has been just, his shoulders, and I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. So there's some really high level receivers in the SEC that they're going to face a lot of. I would say corner, maybe again, I don't know if it's a concern, but it's just kind of got my attention on that. I love that Kendall Dobie's back, boys. I mean, I love that he's back. He'll play that cheetah. I'm intrigued to see how they incorporate Kendall Daniels, because I think Kendall Daniels is such a unique body type. I mean, he's kind of Isaiah Simmons body type. I'm not saying he's Isaiah Simmons player, but if you go back to one of Coach V's great players at Clemson, he's 6'4", 235, and long-armed. He's played everywhere too. He's played safety at Oklahoma State. He played linebacker. I think he's better closer to the line of scrimmage than I think he is out in space. But I don't know. I don't know what their plan exactly is going to be for him. I like his body type. I like his experience. I think he was a really good addition to this defense. So I don't think there's any glaring I'm freaking out about this, but I just think overall, probably in the secondary, it's not a concern, but I just think some guys are going to have to step up.
Well, just kind of to tie it all together, talking Oklahoma, and I think you said it from the beginning, it's going to be a better, probably much better football team all around than they were a year ago. What does that mean, wins, losses? I'm not exactly sure, but what's the number that they have to get to feel like, okay, we've had a successful year, we can build on this, and we've got something moving forward?
Oh, everybody always wants a number. They always want a number, boys. I don't.
What's the? I mean, I don't know what they go, but what's the minimum to say it was?
8 wins.
Yeah,
8 wins to me. Vegas I think the over/under is up to 7 now. It was 6.5. I think it's up to 7.
Hooray!
Yeah, woo! It's just weird to say.
It makes me sad. Let's not talk about it.
6.5 wins. Like what? It's got to be 8 wins, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
With
8
that
wins
schedule-
with a chance to win 9 in a bowl game. I don't mean 8 wins with a bowl win.
Correct.
I mean 8-4. You go 8-4 with that schedule. I don't know how you don't look at it, a realistic person, and say that's a good year. That things are moving in the right direction, and that's a really good step. I want to sit here and say 7-5. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the end of the world, but I think that I think you need to win eight games to feel like that was a good season. Anything else on top of that, I think you got to feel like it's a great season. But I would be intrigued by, and he would never give you the answer. I'd love to know if we could convince Coach V to give us the truth. What would his number be? Because I'm sure his number is even higher than that. I think that I don't think there's anybody that has a higher bar, higher standard for Oklahoma football than him right now. And what he expects and what he wants to see out of his football team. But I mean, because if you go 8-4, you're going to beat some good football teams along the way. I mean, it's part of it. And that also puts you at a 500 SEC record, in my estimation, at least 500. I guess you could drop the game to Michigan, which I don't know. You boys I think Michigan's the biggest game of the year. I think it's the biggest game of Coach Venable's career as the Oklahoma head coach. I think that is a very important game. Don't know how y'all look at it. That's how I look at it.
Feels like an early loss, like mentally could be difficult to recover from.
Yes.
They need for
to everybody.
Learn how to win. Yes. Yep.
For everybody.
We'll spiral if they lose that game. Let's just come on, boys. Let's just be honest.
And you should win that game. Like, hey, I got number of respect for Sharon Moore Michigan football. That is an excellent program. They beat Ohio State. They beat Alabama to close out last year. They're going to come into this season with momentum. They got the number one quarterback in the country and Bryce Underwood coming in. Like they got a lot of things going for them, but they're coming to Norman for the first time ever. And if you're a good football team, you're going to win that game. You're going to take care of business against a true freshman making his first ever road start. That's the way I see it. And what you said is, and both of y'all kind of alluded to, the mental aspect of you lose that game, and it's hard. I'm going to go the other way. You win that game, and it's like everything you've been pushing, pounding for the last year, you see it, you feel it, you taste it. Yes. Okay, here we go. And I think maybe not as importantly, but important that the fans feel and see that. Mm-hmm. You want Norman, Oklahoma, especially this season, the team's coming in here. You want that to be a freaking buzzsaw, man. Like, you want them juiced. You want them excited when Auburn comes to town week 4. What happens if you lose that game against Michigan? I'm not saying they're not going to show up, but it's going to, you guys know, I don't have to tell you, you live here. You cover this team far closer than I do. There's going to be people freaking out. And I just think that what that can do mentally, winning that game, can be such a positive for this season. I think it's a massive, massive game and should be a lot of fun. Game day, I will bet you anything. Game day's here. I will bet you, it's already been announced. It's a night game. Kirk Street or Herb Street and Fowler are going to be here. It's going to be the biggest game of week 2. And saddle up, let's go. It's a big time football game.
I actually talked to Fowler about this at the Kings of Leon concert in New York City. He may not be there because that's the same time as the U.S. Open.
Okay. Well,
so he wasn't sure if he was going to be, because Teddy was saying how much he loved the pod, like how detailed it is, how much he loves it. He was like, "Oh, it's great." And I was like, "This is like the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me." But he was saying he wasn't sure. But it sounds like, what other game would they go to? It's going to be game day.
Really. Yeah.
So it's going to be a massive deal. Yeah. You have set the table well. That's going to be a massive game, Dusty.
They need to win it. Well, I say all that to say you could lose it and then go 5-3 and still hit your eight wins. I'm just saying, at 8 wins, that guarantees you're at least 500 in SEC play. I think that's important.
Want to talk some SEC?
Let's do it.
You went to media days. Now, certainly opinions will change once we start seeing some of these teams play games, right? With all these, all the moving parts now that come with college football teams. But right now, heading into the season, who do you think has the best football team in the SEC?
LSU.
No hesitation. I like it.
I've been talking about it and looking at it and researching it for a long time now. So LSU's my pick. I don't think it's head and shoulders. I think that to me, I look at it, I put 4 teams at the top. I'll do it in like tiers. But going into the year, I have LSU, Bama, so I have in the SEC championship, and Georgia, Texas. I kind of have them in that top tier. I know the media voted Texas, I think 96 first place votes, Georgia second, 44. I think Bama was third, LSU was fourth, all receiving first place votes. So I have the same 4. I just have a different order. And I have LSU, a couple of reasons. I like the additions they made on defense. They got a guy from Florida named Jack Pyburn, a defensive end, who's really good. Very strong, sturdy, more of a run stopper. And then they got a cat who played opposite Marvin Jones Jr. from Florida State, Patrick Payton, who I like a lot. Now, I like Patrick Payton more so in 23. I thought in 23, and part of that was he was playing opposite Jared Verse. I thought he was elite. Last year, numbers weren't quite as good. I think he's got a chance to be really good this year. This is also Whit Weeks. Ted, I don't know how much you've watched of him. You'd love him as a linebacker. He had that nasty leg break against Baylor in the bowl game. All signs are he's good, he's healthy. So part of that's that. I don't know where they're going to play Harold Perkins, but he's almost like a throw-in player at this point. And, a couple of years ago, when he was a true freshman getting 4 sacks against Arkansas, a lot of dum-dums like myself thought going into his sophomore year he'd be the best player in the SEC. Now, he hadn't lived up to that, and he got hurt last year and missed pretty much the entire season. But now Blake Baker's in his second year as the D coordinator. He's a linebackers coach too. I think he's going to have some flexibility to play him in some different spots. So I start their defense because I think everybody kind of points to Garrett Nussmeier is the most experienced quarterback, really coming back in the SEC. And I'd put him, if I were ranking my QBs, he'd be my QB1 in the SEC. I like a lot about him. I think he can anticipate throws as well as anybody. He got a little bit of a gunslinger mentality. Probably needs to take care of the football a little bit more. But, they added a guy named Barry Brown from Kentucky who's really good receiver. We know about Nick Anderson. It goes without saying. And they've got another guy, Aaron Anderson, rock number 1, really good little slot player that they have. I think that offense is going to be good. I also really like the running back from Oklahoma City, Durham. Back. I think he's really good. Now, their offensive line, they got to reshape it, but I trust my old teammate, Hot Sauce Davis, Brad Davis. He's going to get that line where they need to be. So LSU's my pick to win it, but it's not like I think they're head and shoulders better than everybody else. I think Brian Kelly also year 4. I think he's a good football coach. They've made it to the SEC championship game 1 his first season. They haven't since. I think they get back there here this season. After that first year, I'll just tell you, I'm not as high on South Carolina. I was surprised the media had them 5th. That was probably one of the biggest shocks to me. I am a fan of Lenore Sellers, and we're all fans of Coach Beamer. He's great. But they lost so much defensively. They lost multiple picks on their D-line, a linebacker in Debo Williams, who's a flat-out dog, and a safety in Nicky Manwari, who, I don't know if you guys have seen Nicky Manwari, but, you saw him whenever he came here and played.
It's hard to miss him, dude.
6'3", 230, 4'4", 43-inch vertical, and it translates to the field, not just a numbers guy, like a football player. So, I think South Carolina losing that much. They lose Rocket Sanders. I think they take a little bit of a slide back. I think for me, I think Ole Miss, they lost a lot too last season. I think they take a step back. The teams that next tier for me, I'll tell you the team there's 2 teams that I'm really high on leaving SEC media days, higher on than I was going in. Florida, I think Florida's going to be good. I think Florida's going to be really good. Their offensive line is going to be stacked. Gabe, it'll be one of the best. And I think Alabama, Florida, A&M, I think that's probably my top 3 offensive lines in the league heading into next year. But I think DJ Lagway is the real deal. They got depth at running back. They got some dudes on that defense. They're going to be really good. Their schedule, much like Oklahoma, is brutal. So I don't know what that translates to a wins perspective, but they're going to be good. And then A&M. I think A&M's just kind of no one's really talking about them.
Forgotten team this year, man.
No one's talking about Texas A&M, which is right where Mike Elko would love to be. But if you look at what they're bringing back, they got a lot coming back. And they added a player, KC Concepcion from NC State, who is excellent. He is really, really good receiver. At NC State, they played him a running back. They played him a slot. They played him outside. They moved him all over. He's kind of their gadget guy. I think Colin Klein, the OC there in College Station, I think he's going to have some fun with him. And I could see the Aggies being pretty good. The other thing, too, I don't think that it's been formally announced like Coach V, but Mike Elko has been on record saying he's going to have much more of a hand in the defensive play calling. So that's his baby. That's his forte. I mean, the guy was, when he was a coordinator, was outstanding, especially right there in College Station. I think that he recognizes, and they took that slide at the end of the season. The Auburn game, their defense was awful. The bowl game against USC, when they had that massive lead that they gave up, defense really struggled. I think Mike Elko wants to prove and put more of his imprint on that defense and prove that that's still his area of expertise. So that would be the two teams. I would say the teams that I'm lower on than most people: South Carolina, Ole Miss. Two teams I may be higher on than some people: Florida and A&M.
We'll get you back to the interview, but first, 3 things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise. It's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off.
Do not skip this ad. Ridge is doing its legendary sweepstakes for the 5th time, and this time it is insane. 2 lucky winners will get to choose between a $300,000 Lamborghini Huracan Storado, that's right, Gabe, and a $150,000 Hennessy Velociraptor, or $100,000 in cash. So you can head to ridge.com, use code OKBreakdown at checkout for 10% off your order and a chance to win Ridge's biggest sweepstakes ever. And by now, you know you need to be using the Ridge wallet. It's amazing, and Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all their products. So it's literally the last wallet you'll ever have to buy. So if you're ready to upgrade your wallet and maybe your ride, head to ridge.com and use code OKBreakdown at checkout for 10% off your order and a chance to win Ridge's biggest sweepstakes ever, a Lamborghini Huracan Storado or a Hennessy Velociraptor, or you just take the $100,000 in cash. No purchase necessary to enter, but every dollar you spend gets you more entries. That's ridge.com. Use code OKBreakdown. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
All right, back to the interview.
How about a couple of thoughts on Texas?
The Horns.
Because not surprisingly, but pick number 1 by a whole bunch of people.
96 people.
Yeah, and that's just the SEC media voting. They get the national attention too. How do you think this squad is going to compare to what they had last year?
They're going to be really good on defense. D tackle is a little bit thin. They had those 2 big monsters that were high picks 2 years ago. They replaced them well this past year with a couple of good guys. That would be an area of weakness, and there's not many areas of weakness on that defense. I mean, they've got legitimate 3 All-American, probably preseason All-Americans, and 1 at each level. Colin Simmons is the lead off the edge. I think Anthony Hill Jr. is the best defensive player in college football heading into the season. I'll just say it. I think that the guy is that good. And I love Michael Taff on the back end. I mean, he is really smart and a better athlete than he gets credit for. I feel like all we ever talk about is how smart he is. The guy is, he's an athlete. He's an athlete too. He can make plays on the football. So
why would you need to say that he's an athlete, Dusty?
Well, I just think that sometimes he only gets talked about for being smart. He's more than
working
smart.
hard, smart. Yeah.
What is it? Blue collar,
lunch fail guy.
Sneaky athletic.
Sneaky athletic.
So I think Texas is going to be a team that wins with defense. I think, their offensive line, you got 4 new starters coming in. Now they had some guys with the Gooseby kid came in late in the season for Banks. You get Campbell back, who's been there. But, I think Jake Majors, his departure is a huge loss. And Gabe, I'm sure, has talked about this or will talk about it. I mean, he had over 50 starts at Texas at center. Okay. Like, they basically had a coach on the field that was doing everything for everybody. And now you got to kind of start over at that spot. So, look, Coach Flood's a really good coach. They're going to be good. I just don't. I think that the O-line takes a little step back. I'll be intrigued at running back. C.J. Baxter was supposed to be that dude, and he gets hurt. I mean, if he gets back to the guy that we saw parts of 23 season, they're going to be really good at running back again with him and Wisner. You got a lot of new pieces at receiver. But I guess I look at all that and I think Steve Sarkisian is outstanding. I mean, he is. I love his offense. I love the run game that they have. I mean, they want to go outside zone. I love the way he motions. I love the way he shifts. I love the way he uses tight ends. Gunnar Helm's another guy that's going to be a key loss that they got to replace. But I mean, really, and I've waited till the end. The real question is Arch Manning. Like, what is he going to be? I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I think that it is unfair to him, the expectation and hype that has come in for him when he really hasn't started a meaningful game. I know he had the 2 starts last year when Ewers was banged up. He's come in a couple of different games, short yardage situations, but really the only true quarterback reps in a meaningful game that we've seen him have was against Georgia when they played him in the regular season, and it did not go well. Now, that's not me here to say I think it's going to go bad. I think Arch is very athletic. I think he throws the ball well. He's done everything exceptional since he's been there. And the way he carries himself, the way he works, the teammate that he is. I thought it was a masterclass the way he handled the media. Dude, it looked like Elvis Presley walked into the building when he walked in. Like, I felt bad for him. Like, now he's been prepped for this his whole life. And to all the people around him's credit, they've prepped him well. And I was a nose tackle. I didn't have all this fanfare. I don't know how it'd be hard to deal with what he has to deal with. I mean, it's crazy, guys. Like, it's not, I wasn't there, but I was told the only other players at SEC Media Days that has rivaled that type of fanfare was Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel. And the biggest difference between those two, they had already proven it on the field. That was Johnny Manziel after winning a Heisman, and he was in trouble for the autograph signing. That was Tim Tebow after he had won a national championship and he had made his big, speech that he made. Like, those were like already etched in stone college football Hall of Famers now coming back. And that was the fanfare. Arch Manning he hasn't gotten the fanfare based off of his play. So we've never really seen anything quite like this that I can remember in college football since I've been covering it or playing in it. And I think it's going to be intriguing. How does he deal with with failure? How does he deal with adversity? I'm intrigued to find out. I think the guy's going to wind up being a really good player, but being the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman and his team being the number one pick in Vegas to win the national championship, damn. Can the dude breathe? I'm not trying to have a pity party for Arch Manning, but dang.
First start, legit start's going to be at Ohio State.
Right. And can you imagine if he wins that game?
Oh,
it's just so. But I think Texas is gonna be really good, dude. Steve Sarkisian, and I love all of our Oklahoma fans to the nth degree, and all the people support you guys, and you guys have a ton of listeners. So anybody listening to this, which will be a lot of people listening, may not like me.
I'm very complimentary of Sarkisian on here.
He's hard not to be. And he's great to me. He's awesome to me, and I like him a lot. I like what he's about, and he has done an excellent job at Texas, and they're not going away. They're going to continue to be good for a while. But I think that's great because guess what? Oklahoma could be just as good too. Ted, we played in an era when we were playing for a national title, then Texas was playing for a national title. It's not crazy to think that just because Texas is really good doesn't mean that Oklahoma can't be really good. I'm not sitting here telling OU fans they should be rooting for Texas to be good. And I know how they feel about that. But I think we can give credit where credit's due. And the reality is Steve Sarkisian's done a hell of a job. And I don't think they're going to take some massive step back. I don't have them winning the league, but I think they're still going to be really good in 2025.
You also went to ACC Media Days.
Yes, Charlotte.
A lot of people very high on Clemson, but there's only one way we can start this conversation. You got to interview Belichick, man. How was it?
It was awesome. Not gonna lie.
It
was cool. He was great. We got him for it was probably 17, 18 minutes. He was really good. Called me by my name about 3 or 4 times in the interview, which is cool. We're sitting there and he kept referring to me as Dusty. And, my biggest takeaway is I think he really is enjoying the development piece. I think at his core, he's a teacher. I think he really, the nuance of technique, of scheme, and I think he can do that even more so now than he could before. One thing was interesting. He said this. Bill O'Brien said it too when I talked to him, which, by the way, the ACC, you've also got Frank Reich, who's the head coach at Stanford. 3 different head coaches that were in the NFL as head coaches, currently head coaching in the ACC. But they both said to me, I thought this was fascinating. And I went more in depth with O'Brien about it. But Belichick said, we have more time with these college kids than we do in the NFL with the NFL players. And year round, we're with them. We can teach them. We can mold them. We can shape them. And it's not like that in the NFL. And I really thought about it. And he's right. And it's since, Ted, you and I have been out of the league. Maybe you were in the league, Gabe. But when Ted and I played in the NFL, or really, I'll take it back. When we played in college, in the summertime in particular, the position coaches could be nowhere around. We could barely talk to them. It was legitimately only strengthening and conditioning. Even when we would go pass rush, it was the strength and conditioning coaches that would put us through pass rush. Whereas now they get 2 days with position coaches in the summer. They can meet with them. They can be on the field with them. It's constant. When Ted and I were in the NFL, and this may have been you too, Gabe, but we spent a lot more time at the facility. Then I don't know what year it was, the CBA changed, and they started restricting all that. So it's
Right
fascinating.
when I was done.
Yes. Right. Like they made all these rules and
Couldn't do 2-a-days. Like
all
that
kinds
era
of
was
stuff.
unlimited. Once you got to training camp, they
Right.
could set whatever schedule they wanted.
Right. And so now it's interesting because in college, the coaches have more time, more access, more ability to work with players, which makes sense. A, they're getting paid. B, they're at a time in their life where they need that coaching. That's all really good for them. Whereas the NFL, it's like going the opposite way. Players get to spend more time away, train with their own private trainers, stay at their houses away from the facility. They're there less. And it's just interesting because it was completely opposite, I felt like, when we were playing than it is now. And the more I thought about it, it made sense what Belichick was talking about. So it's still crazy to me that Bill Belichick is going to take the field on that first Labor Day Monday in Chapel Hill, take on TCU, and be the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Like, I don't even know if that's going to ever really sink in and be normal. I mean, dude's won 8 Super Bowl championships, 6 as a head coach, 2 as a D coordinator, and
I
now
can't
he's
wait to
coaching
see
college
him
football.
carve up the NCAA rule book and loophole the hell out of somebody at some point during the season with something that we haven't seen.
You know it's coming. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what he does. But he was great. I don't know how good they're going to be though.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. It's funny. I went in. Someone asked me before we met with them. Said, "What do you think?" I said 7-5. I had to be because I saw how good their personnel is. Then after I met with them, I met with this quarterback Gio Lopez. I start looking at the schedule again. I'm like, well, I could see a path to 9-3. It's Belichick, right? Like, I mean, the one thing the dude's going to have his team disciplined. They're going to be, I think, fundamentally sound. And schematically, I think they're going to be in a good spot. I just don't know the level of talent of the personnel. That because they have so many new pieces, and a lot of them are kind of guys I don't really know much about. So I'm intrigued with them. But it was
I saw something
cool
interesting, and this is back whenever all the drama was going on with him and his girlfriend, and there was a picture of him and her standing down on the practice field, and in the background the players were practicing, and they all had their jerseys were blank. They just had blue and white.
No names.
And my first thought, no names, no numbers, nothing on them. And my first thought was, I think he's doing that so people make it very hard to scout his players when they're trying to get guys from the transfer portal. I didn't know any other reason that they'd be in totally blank jerseys. It looked like a movie shoot or something in the background. It was funny.
It was. I'm sure there's probably all kinds of different, mental gymnastics that he's trying to put his players through. And I'm sure what you're saying too, prevent anyone from finding out any kind of information about his players. It's going to be interesting. By the way, Dabo Sweeney, we asked him one question. I think 13 minutes later, he was done with his answer. I think we got in 3 questions in a 20-minute interview, but I don't know how you can't really like that guy.
Yeah.
I really don't. And his
Gonna
football
have a
team,
good football team.
Yeah.
There's a chance that's who I picked to win the national title. And it's funny because I think that first game is just massive. I think both those teams have really good football teams there in Death Valley, so it's gonna be fun. But I don't know what holes they have. I don't know. It's hard for me to find many holes on their team. They're gonna be really, really good. And they kick it off with LSU. They close it out with South Carolina. And last year, hell, they go 9-3 and still make the playoff by winning the ACC. I don't think there's anybody. I think of the Power Four conferences. How I told you there was 4 at the top from in the SEC. There's only 1 at the top in the ACC. I think it's a battle for who's going to play them in Charlotte. Is it Miami? I think Georgia Tech's going to be really good this year. But I think Clemson and the Power Four conferences, they have the biggest gap at the top between 1 and 2. To me, they've separated themselves the most this season. So we'll see if that holds true. But they're going to be – Dabo wasn't pounding his chest saying we're going to be this or we're going to be that. But he thinks they're going to have a pretty good football team, and I agree.
Anyone in the Big Ten you really like?
I mean, Penn State. I only have one question on Penn State. Can Drew Aller step up in big games? Mm-hmm. My only question. Their offensive line's excellent. Their defensive line is excellent. They just went and got Jim Knowles, which, by the way, I really like Tom Allen at Clemson, too, leaving Penn State, going there. But they go and got Jim Knowles to run their defense. You know, I know you love Andy Kolznicki. I mean, I know you do.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, who doesn't? Like, they got everything in place. I mean,
2 running backs.
Allen and Singleton are excellent. They went and got Trevor Pena, at receiver from Syracuse, is really good. Drew Aller, if you look at the biggest games, he's kind of shrunk in the moments. You know, he played well against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, but they were never really. It always felt like Oregon was just, you know, keeping them at arm's length. It wasn't like a knockdown, drag out. You know, every possession's got to matter. The one time I thought Drew Aller play elite quarterback in a big game was USC last season. They won that overtime game. And he found his tight end, I believe, a record-setting, like, I think it was 16, but it felt like it was 37 times. Tyler Warren was a man possessed in that game. I thought he was really good in that game. But when I watched him against Ohio State the last 2 years, now those are good defenses. But when I watch him against Michigan, I haven't seen. When I watched him against Notre Dame last year, and part of this is receiver, but how do you not have one completion to a wide receiver in a game? He didn't have one completion in that Notre Dame semifinal loss to a wide receiver. How's that
12
possible?
12 of 23, 135, and a pick.
All to backs and tight ends. Not one to a wide receiver. So, look, his true freshman year, I did their second game of the year against Ohio. And if you remember the first game that year, they played Purdue, and they played Purdue on Fox. I remember watching the game knowing I was going to have them the next week. I remember Joe Klatt going on and on about Drew Aller, and I think he came in for a couple of plays or possession. The starter got hurt. And so that next week I had their game, and I went down the field. I'm like, I got to check this guy out. All right, I got to size him up. And he looked like Paul Bunyan. He was like 6'5". He was like 245, 240, and he's throwing freaking howitzers from the 50 into the end zone like a flick of a wrist. And I was like, damn. Standing there with Tom Luganbill like, holy cow, this guy's amazing. So he's got the measurables. He's got the arm talent. I want to see him, and I'm just curious, can he take that jump in his third year as a starting quarterback? Because the first 2, he's been a good player, but he hasn't been a great player in big games. And I think that if he can be, Penn State's got the ingredients to make it 3 straight for the Big Ten. If he can't be, they're going to be good, but they're going to fall short somewhere along the way.
That was a lot of football.
That was a lot of football, a lot of good stuff in there too.
That's why you bring in Dvoracek for the ball talk, baby.
I was only gonna do like 30 minutes, and here we are. So
and
I'm sorry.
Poof, here we are. It happens every time us 3 are together. This is what we do.
I apologize.
You know you don't. You apologize for nothing. You're the man, dude. Have an awesome last couple of weeks before the season starts. And you have to send me a ton of pictures and videos from the London Dublin trip. I've
just got to find a good Indian restaurant. Now
I'll send you the ones we went to.
Perfect. I can't wait.
You're the man. Love
Bye,
you.
boys. See you.
Dusty Dvoracek, ball knower. The guy. Big brain on that guy.
Fantastic. We hit everything. We covered some serious ground.
We always do when he's on here.
That's right.
I love it. Just throw him a question and let him go.
That's right.
Let that horse run, baby.
Let him run. That was good.
On that note, episode 551 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. The one, the only, Josh Pate will join us.
Ooh, love it.
Are we Pate State material?
I hope so.
We'll find out. We have been in the past. We'll find out. We'll find out how Pate is. He's very famous now. So we'll see. We'll see if he still likes us.
Doing big things, man.
He's coming on the show. I think that's a good sign.
That's all we can ask. That's all we can hope for.
Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com. We hope you all have a great start to your week. And until next time, we appreciate you all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.
Awesome.